2025 mock draft for the 2025 NHL draft. Let's jump right into it. It's been a couple months since I've made a mock draft, and with everything shaping up with these last couple games in the regular season, I thought this would be a perfect time. Starting off with number one, there's a lot of there was a lot of debate going into this between the top four, obviously. I mean, mainly top three. I mean, Hagens, Schaefer, and of course Misa. But I think, considering the team needs and how well Celebrini, Smith, Toffoli, those top guys are panning out, I gotta go with Matthew Schaefer on that defense. Sure, they have Dickinson, Luca Cagnoni's looking pretty spectacular, and Shakir Mukhamaddin is looking good on that left side, but Matthew Schaefer, I think, is miles ahead of every one of their D that they have because of the skating, the IQ, the decision making, and the really good smarts defensively. He gets really physical sometimes. We really saw that at the World Juniors, and sometimes in the OHL. I love how he just jumps into the play. His ability to just create offense is absolutely spectacular, and it's going to be really special to see him in San Jose. With number two, the Chicago Blackhawks. I think this one should be quite clear to them, and I think Michael Misa is the pick. I mean, Michael Misa is just an incredibly well-rounded centerman. Also can play the wing as well. But I mean, his shot, his hockey sense is off the charts. I think it's one of the best in the draft. He just knows where everyone's going to be. Makes his line mates so much better around him. I mean, we see Epperson could even bounce into the first round because of how good Michael Misa is. He built off of his teammates so well. Igor Chernyshov is looking like a future stud playing with Michael Misa. He really can just change his wingers he plays around and make them 10 times better. And his smarts defensively are just really, really intriguing as well. I mean, he's always active in the play, never cheats offensively, and always willing to get into those areas to get those scoring opportunities. I mean, he skates like the wind, can rip the puck, he can do anything. Play defense, he's really a 200-foot player, really good responsibly in all three zones. At number three, the Nashville Predators. This one is so interesting to me because obviously you still got Hagens, Frondell creeping up on the board, and I think those are the top two that would make the most sense for them, considering their lack of aging centers, or their aging centers in O'Reilly and Stamkos. But I'm gonna go with Anton Frondell. Actually, he's been really hot out of the Allsvenskan for Year Gardens, but the reason that I just love him so much is his maturity at such a young age. I mean, his defensive responsibilities are really good. I mean, I see a lot of Alexander Barkov. That might be a little crazy, but I see a lot of Barkov. His just hockey IQ and defensive capabilities just really make him a really unbelievable player. And he's got a cannon. That one-timer is, oh my gosh, it is deadly. I'm not saying Cole Eiserman level, but like, it can really get up to that level. I think if he keeps developing that shot and he gets into that one-timer shot spot on the power play for an NHL team, he is going to be a really special, dynamic goal scorer who has a pretty good playmaking game to him. Could he get more engaged physically, I gotta say, but like a really good all-around center that just needs a little bit of work with his physical tools, and his skating is actually pretty solid, but I love the maturity in his game, the IQ, the shot. It's all there at a high level, and he's a really high floor type of guy, which is what I really think Nashville needs. With the Boston Bruins, I mean, I think it comes down to two guys here. And then the guy that screams Boston, obviously, for me at least, is Roger McQueen because of the 6'6" frame. I mean, the Bruins love their big dudes. And I think this could be a really special pick. I mean, obviously, considering they drafted Dean Letourneau, who's shaping out to be pretty terrible, but you never know. He could change it around next season. But going for that, I think they go with another BC player in James Hagens. Hagens has been a little bit of a weird player this year. He's really inconsistent this year. But I gotta say, when you really look at it, you watch it, he is really becoming a really underrated player. Because people, obviously, it's not what we wanted from him. Like, sure, he was a point per game. It's still incredible to do that as a freshman. And people really thought that he was really going to take that jump to be an Adam Fantilli or a Celebrini in terms of production. But I still think he's developed pretty solid at BC, becoming more of a defensive player and rounding out his game a little bit. And with his hockey smarts, he's getting more engaged. He's getting a little bit more physical every game too. But I love the but obviously his hockey IQ, the skating ability, the playmaking, it's all at a really high level. Sees the ice incredibly well. I mean, he's a special player with the puck on his stick. But the only problems I have with him is sometimes his effort. I don't think he gets on the forecheck as hard as he should in retrieving pucks. And sure, he's a little guy and he needs to bulk up a little bit, and that'll come with the strength that he's going to build up. But another thing, I feel like he overpasses too much. He doesn't shoot a lot, and he's got a pretty solid shot. Got to work on that quicker release, but it does come off his stick pretty nice, pretty good. And but I just feel like he's always looking to make that perfect play with Perot or setting up Leonard. But I feel like he's got to shoot the puck more. And obviously his creativity with the puck and his passing game is unreal. But you just got to shoot a lot, shoot more. I mean, it would help a lot with production, and he's definitely has a lot. I think he has the most potential in this draft because of the skill set and the tools that he has. Number 5 with the Seattle Kraken. This one, honestly, was really hard to make, considering like they don't need a center, and their defense is actually shaping to be pretty good. But there's one guy still left, and that is Porter Martone. Porter Martone is a guy that fits so well with the Seattle system, I think. With their centerman that they have with Beniers, Wright, and Chandler Stevenson as well, they already have their top 3 centermen. So there's no need to take a guy like Denoyer or like a Jake O'Brien, a Roger McQueen, guy like that. And then I think their defense is pretty solid. I do like Vince Dunn, and Montour's having a really good season as well. And then Riker Evans, I feel like could be really solid. And but yeah, and then Berkeley Catton coming up with centers too. So they don't need those type of guys, but a guy on that right wing to play with one of those centers who can really put the puck in the back of the net, has a really good playmaking game and some good chippiness to him. The skating, I gotta say, it's not that bad compared to what other people say. It just takes him a while to get going, and when he gets going, he is gone. But the skill set that he has at such a big frame, I mean, he protects the puck so well. Sometimes it feels damn near impossible to get the puck off his stick, considering his maturity and just how deceptive he is with the puck on his stick, as well as protecting it. It's so hard to get it off his stick, but also with the nice tools he has. I mean, the shot is one of the best in the draft for sure. I think it's second in the draft behind Anton Frundell, but oh my god, he ripped that puck. But his hands are ridiculous for a 6'5" guy. And the sky is the limit for him. If he can just improve that skating and just improve on his acceleration, I feel like he could be a really dominant force, sort of like a Corey Perry. And I really see that comparison a lot, but it makes so much sense. Moving on, number 6, the Philadelphia Flyers. There was a couple guys. Again, there's 2 guys that comes down to here. It's Roger McQueen or Caleb Denoyer. And I looked at this. I think, obviously, the second line center is Noah Cates, who is not a center. And, but the Flyers definitely are an interesting team. They just fired their head coach in Torts, but Mitchkov's looking amazing. We need a guy to play the middle there. And that player, I think, is going to be Caleb Denoyer. Sure. Does Roger McQueen have a better projectability? Sure. And does he have some better tools and a higher ceiling? Absolutely. But Caleb Denoyer is such a well-rounded center, and I really like him. He reminds me a lot of like Barrett Hayton a little bit in his draft year, but Denoyer's, he's really, really quick with the puck. I mean, he's got some really nice hands, got a good shot, scoring, touches great, responsibly, defensively, very good defensively. But the reason I love him is he's really chippy, and he's very gritty and not afraid to get into those areas. He gets under your skin pretty good, and he's definitely engaged physically. He has a really good passing game to him, and sure, the skating's not perfect, but he can fly up the ice. When he has the puck off the rush, he's incredible. In transition, I mean, it's damn near perfect. And I really think he'd thrive right as an all-around center. Maybe as like a second-line center. I'd feel like Denoyer is going to be in the NHL. And if he just plays with good line mates like a Matvei Michkov or a Travis Konechny, I think that could be really scary going forward. moving on to Buffalo. And this one was really hard as well. I mean, obviously the guy that would make the most sense for me would be the guys that are taken, like a Martone or Frondell, but I don't see them going for another big centerman and Roger McQueen. I went a little bit of a different direction here. I mean, I think this pick is going to be Radim Murtka. Radim Murtka, with Buffalo, what they have, I mean, obviously they have a decent amount of left defensemen with Byram, Power, Dahlin, even Samuelson is a lefty as well, but they do not have enough guys. I mean, Jacob Bernard-Docker is a solid middle of the bottom pair guy, but they need a guy with a huge frame who can do everything. And that's what Radim Murtka does. He's very solid defensively and is really good with his poke checks. I would like to see him use his body a little bit more, but I feel like he projects as a good kind of two-way defenseman. He's really showing off his offensive game, which looks really intriguing down the line. Off the rush, his skating is really good, I think, for a big man. Still needs a little bit of improvement, but it's getting there. And he has a solid shot, nothing spectacular, but I think he's the quarterback on the power play for Seattle, and I gotta say he's been doing pretty solid because of his way to rush up the ice, and he looks so dynamic with the puck, and how good he moves as a big guy. And I gotta say his hockey IQ is very solid, and he has a lot of potential defensively. He just projects as a two-way defenseman with a really good toolbox, and it's gonna be interesting to see how he is moving forward. But I'm really high on Radim Murtka. Number 9, we have the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they're selecting one of my favorite players in this draft, and that is Victor Eklund. Almost skipped that. Victor Eklund is just an absolute... He's just a bulldog on the ice sometimes. I mean, he never stops moving. He works for every point he gets on the Allsvenskan. Playing versus men, he's like 5'10", 165. He's a little light guy. But he is not afraid to get under your skin and get right into those corners and check you and get gritty and just be an absolute force on the forecheck. And he has a really good playmaking game. I love the shot, and I really think there's a whole nother level he can reach of his offensive potential because of how well-rounded he is as a scorer. I mean, I love the passing as well. I mean, he really creates offense in seconds when he has the puck, from turning it over to finding an open guy. His hockey IQ is definitely solid, very responsible defensively, and I really think he has a really high ceiling going forward. He's not just a grit and sandpaper guy. I think he does have a lot more tools as we think, but his shot, I mean, the offensive potential is very good, and I'm really high on Victor Eklund. Anaheim. We have Jake O'Brien, because I think that Jake O'Brien is just going to be... Sure, you could argue Roger McQueen again, but that injury is just so concerning. And Jake O'Brien is everything you want in a forward for them, a center. His hockey IQ and intelligence is unreal. One of the best in the draft class. He just knows where to be, knows where his teammates are. His passing is really phenomenal. He's got some really solid hands and a really good, responsible defensive game. I mean, sure, the only thing that I have struggles with him is his skating. But other than that, he's really well-rounded. His IQ and his defensive capabilities are off the charts, nearly. And he's got a really solid shot. He's racked up a bunch of points in the OHL. I think it's 98. I mean, absolutely phenomenal work from this kid. He's really had an incredible second half, and it's been pretty solid in the playoffs for the Bulldogs. But just an all-around high IQ, good passing center who can really be an impact player for the Anaheim Ducks moving forward. With the New York Islanders, I love this fit, and I think this is where Roger McQueen will land, because that injury is so hard to come back from. The back injuries we saw with Caden Lindstrom last year. He hasn't played a single game because of that back injury, but he's going to Michigan State this year. He's going to be just fine. But Roger McQueen he's barely played, and it's really hard to get the full picture on him. I mean, he's got an unreal toolbox. His shot's really good. His hands are absolutely insane for a big guy. He moves pretty well up the ice. He's not really that good defensively, but he does have some offensive tools that are going to be really projectable at the NHL level for his size. And I actually really do like Roger McQueen offensively. If he just rounds out his game and uses his size a little bit better, I think he could be really scary, and He's got to come back from that injury, but there's a lot of risk concerns with Roger McQueen because of that projectability with the injury. With Detroit, we have my favorite player in the draft going, and that is Lyndon Lakovic. Lyndon Lakovic is just a phenomenal 6'4" sniper. I mean, off the rush, he flies up the ice. I mean, he's got some wheels entering the zone, got some really nice hands as a big man, and he can rip the puck. I mean, his creativity on the ice is unreal. Whenever he has it in those corners, you would not think he's a 6'4" power forward when you see that frame. He is a skill guy, and he can dance around you and move the puck incredibly well, rip it too. Got a really good goal scorer, but also has some sick hands. But the only concerns that I have with Lakovic, I mean, he was on a rebuilding Moose Jaw team. I mean, that team was an absolute disaster. But the way he uses his size is really weird. I really think if an NHL team, all they need to do is just get him more engaged physically, and he's kind of like the Beckett Seneca of this year's draft. And me saying that would be because they grew like 3 or 4 inches in their draft year, become like 6 foot to 6'3", 6'4", and it's really hard. And he's gonna develop into his body, and he still has time to develop into his body and grow. Well, I think he can really grow as a player, and just an overall. I don't think he'll be a power forward, but I think if he gets more engaged and uses his size to protect the puck, it's gotten a lot better this year. But just be more engaged, be physical with that size, and use it the correct way. The sky's the limit for Lyndon Lakovic because the tools are there. The New York Rangers, this pick was really hard because I think that there's a lot that they could choose here, but there's one guy still left, and that is Jackson Smith. And Jackson Smith, I think, is a pretty solid fit for the Rangers because obviously you have guys like Keandre Miller and Adam Fox and Braden Schneider and stuff like that. But they got rid of Ryan Lindgren. I like EJ Emery coming up, but as like a middle pairing offensive defenseman, I really like Jackson Smith. Maybe you can run PP2 or something, but I'm completely sold on Jackson Smith. Sure, his IQ defensively can get a little rough sometimes. He can get lost in the D zone a couple times, but I don't think that's... Obviously, you can tighten that up, but Jackson Smith's offensive creativity and instincts are insane. He's got to shoot more, a lot like James Higgins, but it's not like that type of... But Jackson Smith has to shoot more, but I think that Jackson Smith can be a really good dynamic kind of rushing defenseman who has a really good passing game as well that I really like. But his offensive creativity with his skating is probably one of the best in the draft, and his IQ and decision making, as well as like he uses his body pretty good defensively. I just like to see his positioning get a little bit better and use his stick more efficiently. There's sometimes we can get lost defensively, but overall, I think he's a really good kind of creative offensive defenseman. With the Columbus Blue Jackets, I really wanted to take one of my favorites in Cameron Reed here because I love the offensive creativity that he has, but they already have Werenski, Matachuk's looking solid, and I didn't want to take another left defenseman that they already have. Instead, I went with Carter Bear. Sure, the injury has been really rough for him. I mean, the torn Achilles, it's going to be really hard for him to get back from that, but I think he's an absolute bulldog on the ice again, just like Victor Reckland. They're engines, they're non-stop motors. I mean, they're not afraid to get under guys' skins, get into the corner, fish out pucks, and he's got a really good shot. He wheels around crazy with the puck. Without the puck, he's one of the best players one of the best guys without the puck. And his motor, he never stops moving on the ice. He racked up a lot of points this year, I mean, on a stacked Everett team, but that was because of him, and he was a really good kind of overall center. I mean, he's really good defensively. He's really engaged physically, and there's some offensive upside with this pick. I think there's a lot of different ways you can turn Carter Bear into. You could turn him into like kind of just like a forechecking third line guy. You could maybe give him like a top 6 role as a scorer. There's a lot of different ways. He's a very versatile forward, and I think Columbus will be very happy with this pick. The Utah Hockey Club, this one made so much sense for me, and that was Justin Carboneau. Carbonneau is a really good player. He's has an absolute cannon. Going to be a beast on the power play. But I love the way he rushes up the ice with the puck. Sure, the hands might not be incredible, but he looks really dynamic when he's up the ice with the puck. I mean, I really think that he he does play a heavy game. Sure, he might not be the biggest guy, but I feel like the way he shields the puck just does make him a lot more dynamic out there. And his playmaking game is really good. He looks silky a lot of the times when he has the puck on his stick. Can be very powerful too, and is a really good leader on that team. And I think he has a really high ceiling as a scorer in the NHL. And he's not just a scorer. I mean, he can play make. He's really engaged defensively, and I do like the way he plays the game. And I think there's a lot of offensive upside in drafting Justin Carbonneau. With the Vancouver Canucks, this one made a lot of sense for me, and this is Braden Coots. Braden Coots makes a lot of sense for Vancouver because the Philip Hedl injury and his injury history, that's the reason I wanted to pick Braden Coots, because their center situation is kind of up in the air with Pettersson not playing well and Hedl being a big question mark. And Coots is everything you want. He's a high energy, really skilled center who can really do everything. He can play defense. He's really responsible in that zone, in the defensive zone. He's really good in transition. Off the rush, he's incredible. But he's got a cannon of a shot. He's got a nice toe drag release. He can really put it under the bar. And he's been the captain for Seattle, and he's been a really good leader for them. And he's been really responsible, and he never takes shifts off. And with or without the puck, he still gives 110% out there. And he's just an absolute force with the puck. He's got a really solid playmaking game. Really like him without the puck. But the reason that I love him is the shot and how he is in the power play. He can really be dynamic with the puck on his stick. It's just creating so many plays for his opponent, for his teammates, and just can be really great with the shot, and the whole toolbox is there. He's got a really good defensive game. Can be a really good all-around, kind of versatile player down the road. With the Montreal Canadiens, there's a lot of different ways they could go here. I mean, obviously, you could go with a player like Kashawn Aitchison, who I'd be really interested in. But considering that they have a Jaden Struble and Arbor Jacki in that role, it kind of makes sense to go away from the defensive position. And I think Malcolm Spence makes a ton of sense for them. Malcolm Spence is really grown on me. I wasn't high on him because of how inconsistent he was, but he is an absolute force on the ice. Can be really engaged physically, but I love the playmaking. He skates actually pretty well. He's got a cannon of a shot. He never stops working. He can be really shifty in creating plays. I think he's got some really solid hands. He can be really good third, second, probably a third line, kind of do it all winger for them. And I gotta say, he looks really solid skating. And we saw that goal the other night in the playoffs. I mean, he's just everywhere. I mean, he's got a really high motor and can really have a nice scoring touch. And if he just rounds out that consistency and gets more consistent, but also just continues to be a more effective player and becomes a natural scorer and also be more powerful, I think he can be really solid. And that's going to wrap this up for the top 6 team for my 2025 NHL draft. And some honorable mentions that I wanted to say would be, first we're going to talk about Brady Martin. Brady Martin is unreal. And I really wanted to include him here. I just don't think there's much offensive upside for him to take with a top 16 pick, but I can understand why. He's an absolute force on the ice. He will throw you whenever he can get the chance to. He loves hitting. He's really good without the puck. Can be a really good defensive center going forward. Another guy we already talked about is Cameron Reed. He's kind of like a mini Matthew Schaefer. That might be disrespect to Matthew Schaefer, but he really reminds me of him with the dynamic play up the ice. I mean, he rushes the puck incredibly well, and just is really creative with his skating, his puck handling. Got a pretty solid shot, but he's pretty good defensively. But I just want to see him get more consistent. And then the last player we're going to talk about is Cullen Potter. Cullen Potter is a really good creative guy for Arizona State this year. It's been just needs to get more consistent, and his shot is solid, really good, but he's just gonna get more consistent again. Oh, actually, there's one more player, Cole Reshney. Cole Reshney was so close to making this list, and I really wanted to include him in, but I just couldn't fit him into anywhere where a teammate sets. But a really good silky playmaker that is unreal for Victoria in the WHL. He's been the best player on that team, and they're a really good team. Just being so silky, so well rounded as a center or a wing. Just can you want the puck on his stick? He can make magic happen really, and just find open passing lanes. He's got a really good shot. Sure, that skating needs work, but oh my gosh, is he insane with the puck on his stick? And that's gonna wrap this up, everyone. Peace.